Welcome back to Chamber Chatter. I'm Melissa Candelaria, of course, joined by Melanie and Scott with our Halton Hills and Milton Chambers of Commerce, talking about it's not even an elephant in the room, the biggest thing that's been dominating our lives, and it continues to in 2022, and that is COVID and the recent lockdown, which is supposed to be temporary, but we don't know for sure as we continue to monitor our numbers that, as we mentioned before the break, are not really an accurate depiction, as admitted by our medical officers of health on all levels of governments have said that. You can't really trust those numbers anymore because of the lack of tests. Before the break, we kind of touched on, the rapid tests and also the businesses and how they're doing. I actually wanted to start off this segment here to talk about who's hurting the most right now in your respective communities. Is there any examples of some businesses that you don't think are going to survive this? We'll start with you, Scott.
Yeah, you know what, I think the gyms are probably the ones that are suffering the most, because they, in a lot of ways, they don't have a way to pivot and provide services. The restaurants would be next. They're still really hardly hit, but they do have an opportunity to provide takeout service. So I think those two sectors really are the ones affected the most.
Yeah, Scott, good point. A lot of people don't remember gyms when it comes to that whole support local. And you're right, a lot of them can't pivot, or if they are able to pivot to an online presence, it's just not the same. And I know I've heard anecdotally from my gyms that are members that they lost a lot of people that never came back, that realized they could work out at home, for example, or just stopped working out altogether. So I think you're absolutely right that anybody that can keep their monthly membership going, that would be wonderful for our local businesses. I know that we had a gym close here in Halton Hills, and it was really sad to see.
Or has there been any members of the chamber that have had to pull out being members because of how their businesses have gone? Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, we for the past 3 years have looked carefully at each person's circumstance. We've not taken away anybody's membership based on what their financial circumstances are. More than ever, people need a community support and a business support around them. So we've done a couple of things. We've changed our membership model to a monthly one for people that a one-time payment doesn't work for them. And we're providing resources to people regardless of if they're members or not at this point, because we want, for our philosophy is that a healthy community, a healthy business community is a healthy community. And we'll get back to the normal nuts and bolts when this is all over, and hopefully that'll be soon.
Yeah, and we're the same. We find that a lot of the businesses that are no longer chamber members are ones that either have closed or moved out of town, or in a lot of cases, people have retired. So their business just doesn't exist anymore. But as Melanie says, we're trying to do what we can to help businesses, and we understand that it's challenging times for everyone. But I can tell you too that the upside is that the chamber network has never been more recognized than it is right now, partly because of rapid test kits, because some people didn't know that there was a chamber of commerce, and suddenly now they have to go to our offices to get rapid test kits when we have them. But just in terms of the business supports and the information that we're providing and the webinars, people are finding a lot of value in chamber membership.
That's actually certainly true. In my case, I've talked to many friends and families of mine who work at businesses here in Halton Hills and Milton, and I've said, did you contact your chamber? Or even in other areas of Halton, contact your chamber. Our chamber, yes, like they definitely are there for you, right? So they have the rapid tests that you can take to work and whatnot. So it certainly has really shown, I guess, how important our chambers of commerce are to not only the business community, but the community as a whole, because you are pretty much an information center, right? So as well. And I know I go to you first when things get announced, but okay, what does this mean? What's the breakdown? So both of you are doing some great work. Our chambers everywhere are doing great work. But let's talk about that now. The work that you are doing to really, and it's always been important, but I guess with this third lockdown, I really have to say that it's even more important now more than ever, especially coming into the new year, how important it is to shop local and to support local, not necessarily shop, right? So can you talk about any programs that you have in place right now to really help businesses pivot, but also help us residents come down to support our local businesses?
Yeah, we've done, we have a page on our website with all of the 100 food and beverage services in Acton and Georgetown. So we threw that up last week. Non-members are included. So we just want to encourage people to take out as much as they're able to. We're about to launch a video series just focusing on those restaurants as well. So that, you know, there's lots of hidden gems in Milton and in Georgetown and Acton. So sometimes it's just a matter of discovering your new favorite spot.
Yeah, and most of the chambers across Canada have been involved in some kind of a shop local campaign for the last number of months. And you know, you can see Melanie's got Shop the Hills behind her. You know, in Milton, we've been doing a lot of marketing to try and promote local companies. At the beginning of the pandemic, we had an Eat Local campaign to support the local restaurants. So we resurrected that in the past few months to encourage people to you know, support the local restaurants and be rewarded as they submit their ballots. We've decided to extend that program. It was to end the middle of January, but we've extended it for a couple of weeks and added in more prizes for people to really get them to support local restaurants as much as they can. And Melissa, I don't know if you want to talk about it now, but we also brought the winter market to life as another way to shop local. So you know, we normally have our summer farmers market, but a lot of the vendors didn't have a place to sell their products during winter. So we've created the winter farmers market at the Milton Hall, and we're open every Saturday now from 10 until 3 until the end of April.
And do the same, I guess, rules apply in terms of masking, all that sort of stuff, right? Just wanted to make sure. Okay.
Yeah, you know what? And I'll just say quickly that Halton Health has been just amazing to deal with in terms of making sure that we follow the protocols. And because malls are limited to 50% capacity, we're at 50% capacity. But because we're an essential, we're a grocery store essentially, which makes us an essential service.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about, and Melanie, you might have some insight on this because I think you were recently interviewed by one of our other local medias as well about the economy and how Halton had done overall. And I thought to bring it up, and Scott, you might know more in terms of how we're doing in Milton. The numbers Halton has released, or the region of Halton has released their latest numbers, but the latest numbers being 2020 year, 2021 has not been released of how the economy is done region wide. So can both of you kind of talk about how we did in 2020 overall as a region in terms of business, but also if you're going to see that same pattern in this year, is it likely, or are we going to see worse, or are we going to see something better? Can you talk about that a little bit?
I'll get my crystal ball out, but and that was in essence what I said in the interview was, you know, I think anything we all thought 3 or 4 weeks ago might be a little different now. I am optimistic though. So, you know, we do talk to businesses daily that are struggling with closures, but we have lots that actually can't keep up with demand. So the pandemic has shifted buying behavior, it's shifted supply chains, and a lot of companies have actually benefited from that. So a lot of what we're doing at the Chamber is just supporting local businesses on how they can access HR resources, how they can scale up and grow. And we do have programs that we offer to help businesses do that. So I actually am very optimistic. I still see lots of new businesses opening. So I think that once we get out of this wave, fingers crossed, hopefully I'm not wrong, but you know, just before this wave, I could see a renewed sense of hope and optimism out in the public, and I think that'll continue through 2022.
Yeah, a lot of the
no, go ahead.
I was going to say a lot of the economists that I've heard from, you know, they said that things were ramping back up at the end of 2021, and we had good economic growth. We had strong inflation, which was a downside, but we had job growth, which was a positive. You know, some of that's shifting a little bit in the first what we assume will be the first quarter of 2022. But like Melanie, I'm optimistic. I think we're going to get past this, and we're going to have a strong 2022.
Okay, so we have a few minutes left. I wanted to ask each of you what was maybe the most surprising thing, because we're into our first program of the new year of 2021. What was the most surprising in terms of a business that did extremely well that you wouldn't have thought would have done well in the last couple minutes we have here? We'll start with you, Scott.
Yeah, it's like Melanie was saying. I think companies that have been able to shift to online have done quite well. And you're still supporting Shop Local because it's still a Halton Hills or Milton company that's selling the product. So I think the consumers have been good at sourcing local products online. I think a lot of people that that are in businesses that still have been essential or still are businesses that haven't been suffering as much through the pandemic have done quite well. And so again, I think we have reason to be optimistic.
Melanie, 2 minutes.
So mine's more of a general category. So I know that January, for example, is a really tough month for restaurants, and we want to support our restaurants. But we have some restaurants in Halton Hills that literally, at 6 o'clock on a Friday, they post and say, we're sold out. We can't accommodate any more orders, which is really heartening for me to see. So I think it is indicative of the community that is really rallying around the Main Street businesses that they see and wanting to make sure they're successful. We have another business here in town that sells home goods and paint, and she's expanded to Guelph. She's literally exploded. She can't keep up with demand. So I think that the good thing about the pandemic and keeping people close and local is that they've rediscovered their local businesses, which is lovely to see.
Great silver lining. On that note, I want to thank you both for coming on the program once again. Hopefully, the next time we get together, it won't be so dominated by COVID, but I'm not holding my breath. So thank you both so much for being on the program. I appreciate it.
Thanks
very much.
And for you, if you want more information on your chambers, your local chambers, just go to your local chamber's website. You can also go to our website, yourtv.tv, for all our programs that we have available to you. With that, I will see you next time.